Hello, my name is Kevin Gastola. I'm a journalist. I'm also a concerned citizen in Illinois. On March 17th, amid a global pandemic, March 17 primaries are scheduled to go on in Democratic races in Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio. These states are all proceeding with their primaries despite the heightened risks to the public health of voters and workers who will be staffing polling places. Currently, we know that in Arizona, reports indicate there are as many as 70,000 people who may have the coronavirus, according to the CDC's own models. We know that in Florida, there are over 75 cases, and that the CDC has recommended the state ban gatherings of 250 people or more. We know that in Illinois, all Illinois schools are closed until March 30th, and the state is also recommending bans on gatherings of 250 or more people. In Ohio, the director of the Ohio Department of Health has said that 1% of the population is carrying the coronavirus. If true, that means that more than 100,000 people are carrying the coronavirus. U.S. hospitals are reportedly bracing for what they call, quote, a tremendous strain. And yet, even though the Louisiana state government and the Wyoming Democratic Party have made the decisions to postpone in-person voting and or cancel the in-person voting portion of their caucuses, these four states are pressing onward with the primaries on Tuesday with in-person voting as if they are defending democracy by holding these primaries. Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio should follow the lead of Louisiana and the Wyoming Democratic Party, and they should move the in-person part of voting to another date or cancel it entirely and accommodate voters through expanding emergency absentee balloting, or otherwise known as mail-in ballots. They can reschedule the primary to May or June, and they can extend mail-in voting, giving voters more time amid the pandemic to vote without putting these individuals at risk in public areas. Standing in line is one of the key ways that people could contract the virus. We know that respiratory droplets, coughing, is one of the main ways of spreading this virus. Unless these polling places intend to hand out masks to all individuals who will be voting or working at these polling places, there is no way to guarantee their health. We also know that we have seen people standing in line for hours in this primary and in previous primaries, with people being in line for up to 2, if not 3 hours to vote, with people off work, with less people having to report for their jobs. We know that it's possible that even though they're encouraging people to come at off-peak times, they could still find themselves at a polling place and be in a line of dozens of people. Also, because there have been schools shut down and child care centers closed, it's possible that a parent may have to make the choice between voting and keeping their children safe. And if children come to stand in line and they get the virus, then they may become carriers and they may spread the virus to more people. At a time when we are trying to quarantine and curb this outbreak, going on with the March 17 primaries is not the right choice for these state officials, as well as the DNC. What we also know is that states are scrambling to staff these polling places. And if they have not adequately staffed the polling places, we know that that's going to add an extra dimension of chaos to what unfolds on March 17th. These officials have voiced their concern about their ability to keep people because they are seeing dropouts from polling place workers who are concerned about the risk to their health. We've seen that in the state of Ohio, just alone in the state of Ohio, we have seen officials there complaining about what is happening with this virus and the impact to the state. Just in Ohio, election officials have indicated that they are moving around 75 voting locations around the state to alternative locations because they need to protect nursing homes. They need to protect the people in assisted living facilities. And that number has swelled in the past week as they try to accommodate those people. We know that older adults are primarily the ones that tend to be poll workers. We're also seeing that they make up a more sizable share of voters who are turning out for the primary in 2020. And so if you are concerned about the health of these people, then you have to recognize what the spokesman for Ohio's Franklin County Board of Elections told The Hill, which is that a lot of poll workers are older, so we're having a lot of them call in telling us that they can't work Tuesday. So for every new person that we're getting, we're having 3 say that they can't work. So we're scrambling around to fill spots. This is a recipe for chaos. We've seen similar struggles unfolding in the city of Chicago, in the populous county of Cook County in Illinois, and we can presume that in other states like Arizona or Florida, amid this pandemic, they are having struggles as well. Older people, as we know, being the most at risk, may be advised to stay away from public areas. They may be advised to not go to the grocery store where they could stand in line, possibly come in contact with an individual who has the virus. And yet we are opening them up. We are opening them up to a possibility that they would stand in line at a polling place and face an increased public health risk. One core issue is that there are only a few states in the United States where you can do all voting by mail. Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio are unfortunately not one of the states where it's okay for all voting to take place by mail. And so they have to deal with this dilemma of not canceling the primaries, but continuing to extend the votes to people who want to participate in the election. What we know to be true is that the NBA has ceased its season, that Broadway shows have been shut down, that March Madness is canceled, that the Masters tournament has been postponed, and that other events similar to these sporting events have been postponed or canceled entirely. We've seen that Apple stores are now going to be closed for 2 weeks. We can expect other businesses to take similar steps in order to protect people. There are extreme actions being taken. But once again, these 4 states have yet to make the choice to protect public people, to protect public health, to protect individuals who will be working at these polling places. There's an open letter that I encourage you to go sign that I co-organized with Brad Johnson to extend mail-in voting and appeal to these officials to reschedule the March primaries amid this pandemic. I'm going to read to you the phone numbers in addition to mentioning this petition that you can call to get to the secretaries of state. So you go to Illinois. If you are a voter in Illinois, I would encourage you to call 217-785-3100. In Arizona, I would encourage you, especially if you are a voter in Arizona, to call 602-542-8683. In Florida, I would encourage you to call 850-245-6200. And that's especially if you are a Florida voter. And if you're an Ohio voter, this is the number for the Secretary of State, to call 614-466-2585. You can talk to elections people. You can express your concern about the threat to public health and the need to mitigate risk and the need to find an agreement with people at the DNC. Let's not penalize states for moving their primaries. Let's not penalize them if they cannot find the time to do this and do the final tally of the count until later in June. Let's recognize that the rules for the DNC were not written with it in mind that we would all be trying to survive a global pandemic. And let's protect voters and ensure that the maximum amount of people can participate in this pivotal election.